Okay, we're here now at the start with the women's under 23 8. The crews are just trying to get into the gates right now, and as you've seen in some of the other races today, the headwind is making things challenging. And with the bigger boats, it certainly is more difficult to get a straight line. Running through the lineup here in lane 2, closest to us on the screen, we have Thompson Boat Club, followed by Riverside Boat Club out of Boston, St. Catharines Rowing Club in lane 4. In lane 5, we have Vesper from Philadelphia. Lane 6, Westside Rowing Club from Buffalo. And lane 7, we have Pittsford.
Yes, should definitely be a fun race. The eights will be able to handle the headwind and the choppy conditions better. It's very difficult to keep an 8 straight in the gates with this kind of weather, so you're going to see a lot of the bow-most portside rowers just tapping it all the way through until the umpire puts the flag down. Definitely very difficult for the bow pair and the coxswain of each crew to keep it straight here.
So, Katie, as a coxswain, when you're in a situation like this with these challenging conditions, what are you saying to the crew to try and not only keep the boat straight, but keep them prepared?
I'm trying to keep them relaxed, not letting things get too tense, trying to reassure them that I've got this. We will stay in our lane. It will be no problem, that I will handle the wind, and all they have to do is apply the length and power and stay together. Basically trying to keep everything in control and everything relaxed, ready to go.
Very good. It looks like the crews are sitting up waiting for the starter's call, and they are off.
Yes. All right. So you can see them building the rate quickly, a little bit still challenging, still a lot of blades hitting the water, but a little bit easier in the 8 with the amount of power that they have and how quickly they can get off the line.
And in the 8s, you'll see a different strategy than you would see in the smaller boats. The 8, the strategy often is get out front, stay out front, and try and control the race. Because as you open up a little bit of a lead in the 8, it's harder to take back that real estate.
Yes, it's definitely harder to change speeds. So if you want to shift in a single, it's easier to shift up and crank it up. But an 8 with so much weight and size in that boat, it's difficult to shift to speed. So the start is more important in 8, but it isn't the race. The rhythm is the race. So let's see what happens when they shift. So it's very tight off the start. It looks like St. Catharines and Vesper had a good start, but it also looks like Riverside is getting off the line well too. And even Pittsford is doing quite well. Very tight coming in to the first 250 meters done.
Yeah, Vesper and St. Catharines, one of the clubs that won 2 Henley Golds yesterday. St. Catharines crew is coached by Kathy Boyce, former national team member and Olympian for Canada.
Yes. All right. So now the crews will have lengthened and really gotten to their long, strong rhythm, and they just need to lay down a relentless rhythm that's going to keep pushing into this headwind.
As we approach the 500-meter mark, you see there's not a lot of space between the crews. Looks like Vesper might have about 3 seats up on St. Catharines, who are being followed very closely by Riverside.
So if I was in the St. Catharines or the Riverside boat, I would be reassuring my crew that we have time to work back in there, time to stay calm, and to really push through the next section of the race. That's very challenging with the wind, and trying to just work and maximize our rhythm and our race plan.
It is. At the international level, you've started to see some changes in the race strategy in the 8s as well. Crews not necessarily jumping out as soon as they would have in the past. Crews are trying to do more work and really treat that first 500 meters as the introduction to a race. You don't necessarily have to be ahead, but you don't want to be too far behind.
Yes, exactly. The start is to get you into the race, and now it's really time to see what these crews have with their rhythm and their base pace. Just length and power to try to send it an inch back in.
And with these conditions, too, I think a lot of the crews might have been focused more on staying clean and straight out of the gates as opposed to just getting up to speed right off those first few strokes.
Yes, it still looks like it is Vesper, but again, from this angle, it's hard to tell, and it is very tight. All right. Vesper and St. Catharines look to be right in the race and battling it out. We're going to have a good view soon to see who's up, but you can see Vesper is up by a little bit, definitely.
Both St. Catharines and Vesper are rowing about 35 strokes a minute, which is probably a couple of stroke beats lower than you would normally see in an 8, but that's due to the headwind. It's a really challenging headwind, and you can see those two boats really striving to get through here. Riverside's dropped back just a little bit, trying to keep contact with their bow, overlapping with St. Catharines. But Vesper still has the same 4-seat lead that they had at the 500-meter mark.
Yes, this is going to be a very good third 500. In this 500, you're thinking, how bad do you want it? How hard did you train to get out there? They're going to be hurting, but it's all about heart here. Which 8 wants it more?
Yeah, this Vesper 8 was the same 8 that came third at U.S. Club Nationals in New Jersey a couple of weeks ago. And they also won the Independence Day Regatta in Philadelphia, which is a large regatta.
Yes. So seeing TBC come through there, and now we are back with the full shot of every crew. So definitely going to be a good race. It's choppy out here, but the crews are going to be awakened with some cheering soon as we're passing the island where all of their teammates, friends, and family might be sitting, trying to give them a little boost as they come through this section.
Yeah, this Vesper Boat Club, a lot of history there. They were founded in 1865. It was also the home of Jack Kelly, famous U.S. sculler who won Olympic gold in the men's single. Also banned from racing at the Henley Royal Regatta because he was a bricklayer. And the rules at the time stated that you weren't allowed to work with your hands and compete because it was felt that you were given an advantage over the elite class.
Very interesting. Well, now it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from. It just matters how hard you go. So let's see what we have here coming into the last 500.
And it looks like Vesper made a push there around the 1,400-meter mark to open up a little bit more space on St. Catharines. They had 4 seats, and I thought St. Catharines was moving, but it looks like Vesper has just made a nice move, open up just a little bit of water. St. Catharines trying to keep their bow overlapping with Vesper's stern to give them a chance in the last 500 meters.
Yes, and also looks like Riverside has moved up St. Catharines a little bit. And then they are followed by Pittsford and Westside, and finally Thompson Boat Club.
Now at this point, the crews will start to be able to hear the fans in the grandstands. It's Friday afternoon. Lots of people are getting off work now. Many ex-rowers in the area will come down to the grandstands, cheer on crews, enjoy some beverages, tell some stories, some of which might be true.
Yes, so final push here. If you're in the race right now, you are getting ready to wind it up, not just with rate, but with power. And in an 8, it's really important to have a clear call and to be executing the final push on the same stroke. Because in an 8, it's not just one person who brings the rate up. A lot of people think it's the stroke seat, but it's all 8 backing that stroke seat up and making sure they hit it on the exact same stroke so they can bump the rate on their Coxie's call.
Yeah, Vesper started to bring their stroke rate up a couple of beats. They're at 37 strokes a minute. St. Catharines is at 37 strokes a minute. Both crews, because they were rowing at a lower rate, have that room to bring it up. Also, the conditions. You can see the weather's a little bit calmer. You don't see as many white caps in the picture. So the crews have that clear runway now, and they're looking to get as much out of it as they can.
Yes, and it looks like it's going to be Vesper as we come to the line as their final push. Those women probably feel great right now. We're horrible, but great at the same time. They are smiling, but they are hurting.
Yeah, the Vesper boat is stroked by Alyssa Aronson, followed by Gabriella Thompson, in 6-seat Noah Ortiz, 5-seat Adriana Borson, 4-seat Gabriella DeMarco, 3 Sarah Nelson, 2 Olivia Hurspit, and in bow Abigail Bentley.
Well, congratulations, Vesper. They definitely got it as they go through the line. Celebrating and excited.
Yeah, you can see the Coxie Alley Nussbaum raise the hands, getting ready for her dip into the water in about 10 minutes' time.
All right, so unofficially it is Vesper Boat Club with a 7:04.56, followed by the St. Catharines Rowing Club. Good race. Vesper led the whole way. It was tight, so they hung back a little bit at the beginning, but their rhythm just pushed them through, especially in that third 500.
Yeah, very smart race. They rode cleanly throughout the whole race, and I think that really helped them in the bottom 500.
Yes, definitely. So we have Vesper, 7:04.56, followed by the St. Catharines Rowing Club with a 7:09.98, followed by Riverside with a 7:12.04. Which is followed by Pittsford Crew, 7:20.18. They were followed by West Side and then finally Thompson Boat Club.
Okay, and we are joining a race in progress now. This is the women's senior pair. In lane 2, closest to us is Henderson. Lane 3, University of British Columbia. Lane 4, Calgary Rowing Club. Lane 5, Winnipeg Rowing Club. Lane 6, Minnesota Development Camp. And in lane 7, Three Rivers.
All right. So, pairs again. It's going to be challenging, these conditions. Really choppy conditions right now, and the pairs are going to be tried to blown to port side, which is the right-hand side if you're a rower. They're going to be tried to blown out of their lane, especially hard to steer in this weather in a pair. One person in each crew will have what's called a tow, and they can move their foot back and forth to keep the boat straight.
Looks like at this point Winnipeg Rowing Club might have opened up a slight lead, followed closely by Calgary and Minnesota.
So in the Winnipeg boat, we have Ryan Buchhorst and Michelle Trax. Michelle won the senior women's single earlier in this regatta. So we are coming into the third 500 now. As we come up, it is Winnipeg, closely followed by Calgary Rowing Club.
Yeah, Calgary's women's program has really taken off in the last few years, winning the senior women's 8 at Henley, also taking that 8 over to England to participate in the Henley Royal Regatta.
Yes. All right, and then we have Minnesota Dev Camp crossing into the third 500 right now. All right, so we'll have another shot here. So third 500, everyone is feeling it at this point. And they're still tapping the water a lot. You can see water shooting up from the end of the oar. That's because it's so choppy that the crews are having trouble to keep their blades from hitting the water as they come up the slide.
Yeah, Michelle Truax, who you mentioned, won yesterday in the single. She has some international experience. She raced for Canada in the women's 4 at the 2016 World Championships. And it's interesting, her partner, Rianne, only started rowing in 2015. She was 22 years old, had finished university, and took part in a Learn to Row program, and is now really taken off and has tried to crack through to the Canadian national team, and certainly showing her skill in a small boat with her partner.
Wow, that is impressive in such a short time to be leading the race in the senior women's pair. All right, so these crews are going to be racing for the HIH, Henley Island Helpers Prestige Award. The Henley Island Helpers were organized in 1963, and they've always been at the island raising money for the rowing club by selling hot dogs, juice boxes, basically anything you can want on a regatta day. So they are always out there supporting the club, and they have this Prestige Award that the pairs are rowing for right now.
Yeah, a number of boats in St. Catherine, the St. Catharines Rowing Club, Brock University Rowing Club, named after the Henley Island Helpers because they have been such strong supporters of local rowing.
All right, so final 500. It is Winnipeg crossing into the final 500 first. They are followed by Calgary Rowing Club, followed by, I believe that is the Minnesota Development Camp, then the University of British Columbia, followed by Henderson.
Yeah, Henderson, they're rowing out of Boston in the Northeastern Boathouse. They're coached by Joe Wilhelm, who has run the Northeastern Women's Program for a number of years now.
Yes, and he is actually a St. Catharines native. He is Canadian, so he's coming back to his home course to help his girls race today.
Yeah, also a good opportunity for him to see a lot of the junior athletes, start to talk to them about some of their future rowing careers, as you will be doing for Queens now.
Yes, I will. All right, so we are coming into the final red buoys here. Crews are bringing the rate up. Let's see what they're at. So Winnipeg is currently at a 31, so they are still keeping with their base rhythm. They have not brought it up yet, but Calgary is cranking the rate here. They are at a 36 already, so they are definitely making a charge at Winnipeg right now.
Yeah, in Calgary, the stroke seat, Olivia McMurray is going to be drawing on some of her international experience. She raced for Canada at the 2014 Commonwealth Games, so she'll be looking to